Hi there, it's Terry Hoknes. For almost my entire life, I've been keeping track of my favorite music, bands, songs, and albums. And at the end of the year, I tabulate all the chart information that I keep track of during the year. And so I've been doing this since the age of 13 in 1984. So this is my 38th year and kind of compiling all the data. So this year, like always, I've created a spreadsheet. I called it Favorite Songs 2021. Right now, I'm working on my favorite music acts. So let me show you a little bit. So following my mouse here. So here's Terry's favorite music groups of 2021. We're ranking the acts down. We're giving official points, which we're going to get to in a minute. You'll see I haven't even filled out part of the chart, so you're going to actually watch me compile this as I go. Right now, I'm inputting all the data of how these bands ranked on all my individual charts during the year. Now, during the year, I only ranked my 50 favorite bands 7 times. January 1st, March 24th, May 16th, June 17th, July 26th, September 17th, and November 4th. So that's pretty low for me. In the old days, believe it or not, I used to do it every day of the year. But now I'm down to only 7 times a year. As an adult, don't have a lot of time, but I do like to keep it kind of current. So you'll see right now I'm inputting the data of how these bands rank. So for example, if you take ABBA over here, you can see that ABBA ranked as my 16th favorite group on January 1st, moved down to number 20, 21, 22, and currently ranking as my #1 favorite band right now since September 17th. 2 different charts, so you'll see they ranked #1 twice. But the September 17th chart will last for 48 days. And the November 4th chart lasts for 58 days. So if you combine those together, you can see that the last 106 days of the year, ABBA was my #1 favorite group. So they have a good chance to rank as my #1 act of the entire year, but we don't know that for sure until I tabulate all this information. So for the next few minutes, you're going to see me input a bit more data, and I'll keep talking and explain all the things I do. Some people think I'm crazy that I still do this, but I just find it a lot of fun. I really like charts, statistics, and putting this together. So let's go look at my actual individual charts. So the next act we have to input is the Beatles. So I have another spreadsheet, which I just call Hoknes Daily Charts. I'll blow it up a little bit so it's a little easier to read. And you can see, here's the top 50 charts dated January 1st, 2021. You can see the Beatles ranked 7th on that chart. The next chart I did on March 24th, they ranked 7th. The next chart I did, they ranked 7th. Then they also ranked 7th. And then they ranked 6th. So let's go and put that data over onto my year-end chart. So they were ranked 7, 7, 7, 7, and 6. And there's just a few more left. So let's go look those up here quickly. On the last 2 charts of the year, the Beatles ranked 8 and 9. So we're going to input those. So the Beatles have a really good chance of ranking very high on the year because they stayed in the top 10 the entire year on the individual charts. The next group we're going to look at quickly is the Moody Blues. So again, let's jump back to January 1st. They ranked number 6. They fell to 12. They fell to 14. They fell to 15. So let's go input that much. 6, 12, 14, 15. And then they ranked 15, 20, 22. 15, 20, 22. Okay, so they're not going to rank as high as the Beatles, even though they have a higher high position, but they've been falling. I'll explain more of that in a couple minutes once we just fill out the rest of this. At the start of the year, Dua Lipa ranked number 5, then 5, then 5, then 6, then 4. 5, 5, 6, 4. And finishing it off, 5 and 5. So that's very high rankings. She stayed in the top 6 the entire year. Next, we have Sweet Sensation, who at the start of the year ranked 4, then 2, then 2, then 2, then 5. 4, 2, 2, 2, 5. And more recently, at the end of the year, 7 and 14. Finally taking a bit of a dip here at the end of the year. That's a pretty impressive run, though. At the start of the year, John Lennon ranked number 3. Then he fell to 11, 11, 11, 12. Let's go with those. 11, 11, 11, 12. And then finally at the end of the year, he's ranking 13 and 6. Okay, we're getting up to some of the big ones here. This is going to be fascinating when we tabulate all this information just to see what's going on as well. If you want to kind of jump to the highlights, you can forward this video to kind of get to me filling more of it out. Well, McCartney started at number 2. Then he was number 3, 9, 9. So 2, 3, 9, 9, 9. And Paul McCartney ended off the year 10 and still holding at number 10 on this very date. So he spent the whole year in the top 10. And Expose started the year at number 1. 1 and then 4, 4, 5, 7. 4, 4, 5, 7. And most recently, at the end of the year, they ranked 11 and 11. Okay, so now I've inputted all the groups that ranked anywhere on any of these separate individual top 50 charts. Remember, there's 7 different charts. So there were the 50 initial groups at the start of the year. And during the year, I had 6 other acts enter at random dates, including Supertramp, who came in on March 24th, which is a total of 283 days remaining of the year. And they spent 124 days in a row at number 1, currently ranking number 12 on the last chart of the year. So they're going to be interesting to see how well they rank, because they will have the longest run at number 1, but they were not on every chart. So I'm going to show you how I tabulate that in a moment. You'll see Monster Magnet also debuted high, and I think I've got a number missing here. That was a mistake. Glad I caught that. Monster Magnet ranked 13th when they debuted on June 17th, and then jumped to number 1 on July 26th. Okay, so in this column here, high position, this is where we're going to rank the highest number that an artist reached during the year. So Expose started at number 1, so that's their highest. Paul McCartney, 2 is the highest. 3, Sweet Sensation would climb up to 2. Dua Lipa climbed up to 4, 6, 6. Fanny ranking high at the end of the year, number 3. You can see I'm just pulling the highest ranking of any of these individual charts. And that will be the highest ranking position that they ever achieved during the year. ABBA, number 1. And so, yes, I've been doing this every year since 1984. And of course, keep in mind, I used to do this all on paper and pencil because I was doing this way before I had a computer or the internet or anything like that. So it's a lot easier now with the computer, especially when I do the final calculations, because I can actually sort and calculate. So that part I like. Plus, it's easier to read when it's typed on the computer rather than my handwritten notes, which I'm about the only person who can read my notes. I have a lot of acts that just kind of hang on at the bottom of the chart, never fall off, but they're just hovering. All right, so there's all the high positions. Now the next rank is how many days did they spend at that high position? So January 1st, chart lasted until March 24th, which is 82 days. So for Expose, we're going to say they were number 1 for a total of 82 days during the year. Paul McCartney also 82 days at number 2, 82 for number 3. But Sweet Sensation, you can see here, is these 3 amounts combined. So we have 53 days plus 32 plus 39. And that gives us a grand total of 124 days at number 2. That's quite a high ranking. Dua Lipa, 53 days at number 4, you can see. 82 for the Moody Blues. The Beatles 53 days at number 6 because it's this chart with the 53. At the end of the year, got Fanny 58 days. Start of the year 82 days. Klaatu is a total of 85 days. ELO 82, 82, 58, 58. Here we have to total 3 different charts at 15 days each. So that's a total of 167 days. ABBA had the last 106 days of the year at number 1. We've got 167 for these 3, for these 3. Yes peaked at 13 for 53 days. This is 82 days. 82, 58 at the end of the year. This is 48 days. 82, 82, 32. This is 82, 82, 32, 82. 2 charts combined is 85, 53, 32, 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 8. Oh, no, this Temples was on a different chart. That was May 16th for 32 days. Let's fix that. It was 32. And then this is 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 80. Oh, no, this one will be longer. That's going to be 4 charts in a row for Boston at number 48. That's a total of 206 days at that rank, which also gives Whitney Houston 206 days. John Congress 206 days before he fell off the top 50 chart, so he doesn't have a rank at all. Supertramp 124 at number 1. Monster Magnet 53 at number 1. Brenda Russell debuted strong at number 2 on this chart for 48 days, and then it started to fall. Okay, so that's the 56 different groups. So now we're getting closer to ranking them to find out who I consider my official number 1 act of the year. Now, if we sort this just by high position, I already know that ABBA would be the winner. Or no, sorry, second place, because Supertramp would be the winner with 124 days at number 1. But to make my favorite groups chart a little more interesting, I also total up how many days they were on the chart. If you were on every chart, then obviously the answer is 365 days. So you're going to see that's the case for most of these acts because there's only 6 that fell off. So Jesus Christ Superstar is just a little bit short at 307 days. We've got Billie Eilish is a little short, 167 days. One Bad Son made it to 259 days. Zager and Evans made it to 82 days, as did Tom Kennedy. John Congress made it to 206. Supertramp debuted late, so they missed the beginning of the year, so they spent the last 283 days on the chart, as did Bobby Gentry. Monster Magnet spent 198 days on the chart, 159 days for Darish and Delka. Brenda Russell had the last 106 days, and Kate Bush came on the last chart, lasting 58 days. Okay. So now we got a few steps here because we have to fill in these last 4 columns to come up with our official answers. Okay, I'm going to save this file just so I don't lose any data. We're getting very close though. I'm documenting this because you can see how much work I go to that. If anyone had to figure this out on their own, I'm not sure if they would. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to block all of these and we're going to do a sort. We're going to rank all these artists simply by their highest position to come up with one set of stats. And that's going to be column H and I. So we're going to sort by those columns. Column I will be sorted descending. So we want to start with the biggest number. And here we go. Now that we've done that sort, you can see that Supertramp is in first place for the highest position of the year with 124 days at number 1. ABBA in second place with 106 days, Expose 82 days, and Monster Magnet 53 days. So that was only 4 groups that hit number 1 on one of my charts this year. What we're going to do now is go to this position here of rank high position. And now we're just going to, now that they're in order of high position, we're going to rank them all based on that. So again, we have 56 acts and now they're ranked. So if you only want to know who ranked the highest on an individual charts, this is the only chart you really need to look at. You'll see Supertramp is in first place. Okay, what I do. The low number, because so many acts stayed on all 365 charts, I need a way to separate to see who really has the best overall ranking for the year. So for that, what I do is I find out what the lowest the ranked was. So you can see ABBA, their lowest chart position was number 22. So that's going to penalize them a bit. Expose is 11, Sweet Sensation 14. So see Paul McCartney is now in the lead. And because of that, Dua Lipa, lowest position was 6. She is now in first place for lowest ranking during the entire year individual charts. So just take me a moment to go through them all quickly. I'm looking for their lowest position ever ranked, and that's what we're going to sort it by, so that people who rank the highest the overall year will get rewarded. Seven, 30, 39, 33, 32, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And after that, the rest of the acts never stayed on all the charts. Okay. So now this is what we're going to use to rank the high ranking days on the chart. So we're sorting column G, and Dua Lipa is going to rank number 1 in this column. Dua Lipa is in first place. The Beatles are in second. Paul McCartney is in third, Expose, etc. Okay, so we're going to sort this chart down the list this way. And then after that, it's just going to be following all these with the acts that have the fewest days by far. And so they're already ranked. That makes our life easy. Okay, we're getting close to finishing now. So now we have given a point system for those who rank the highest on any individual chart. And we've now given a rank to those who stayed on the most charts and had the overall highest rankings. What we're going to do now is simply combine the points from these two important columns, the rank of high position and most days. So you will see that Dua Lipa is going to get 14 points by combining 13 and 1. Beatles get 18. Paul McCartney is running in the lead with only 9. Expose, really impressive, with 7, 15, 12, 20, 23, 32, 28. And of course, to speed this up, I can actually just go sort by the date. So by column. So if I do equals sum E plus F, that's not the right calculation. Do this. Let's jump down to the last year, see if I kept my combinations in there. Okay, it's that. Okay, I was close. It's sum D with column D, row 6, and then the 2 dots. Oh no, not D6. I want to compile E6 and F6. There we go, get our 14. So let's just follow that down. We'll save a little bit of time. And we're going to have our answer. The official #1 artist of the year for Terry Hoknes, combining the 2 points with the least points, combining from highest rankings, Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa is my #1 favorite musical artist of 2021. Now I've got them all ranked there. So Dua Lipa is #1. The Beatles are #2. Paul McCartney 3. Expose 4. Ghost 5. John Lennon 6. Sweet Sensation 7. Spirit 8. Klaatu 9. George Harrison 10. Now, remember, Supertramp actually ranked #1 for most days at #1, but because they weren't on all the charts, they got knocked way down to 46th place. So this is the most controversial thing about doing my charts this way, is by not being on every chart, Supertramp has no chance of ranking high overall, even though they were at the highest ranking for the majority of the year. So if you don't like this ranking of overall combining days and high position, then you might just use high position, which would make Supertramp #1 of the year. So that sure changes things up. And remember, if we did it by low days, then Dua Lipa would have been #1. So it's interesting that the ranking of most of these acts really didn't change at all. Oh, notice my calculation didn't actually work there. Let's do this again. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I hadn't even done it right. Oh, my mistake. I didn't even calculate it right because my calculations didn't go through. So now we find out that Dua Lipa is not #1 of the year. My mistake. Okay, we're sorting by column D, which makes Expose #1 of the year. The reason for the big difference is because Expose actually did start the year at #1. Dua Lipa never ranked higher than 4th. That's what knocks her down. So she ranked #1 for really staying highest on the chart the entire year, but never hit #1, and that knocks her down. So Expose is #1 of the year. Let's check out this whole chart here again. Paul McCartney ranked 2nd, Ghost is 3rd, Sweet Sensation 4, Dua Lipa 5. So that mixes things up a little bit. And yes, that helps propel Supertramp up the chart a bit. So they came in 24th place. So highlighted, you can see I have the new acts that debuted on the chart this year, during the year, not at the beginning. Supertramp, Monster Magnet, Brenda Russell, and Darish and Dolga all had rankings. So there you go. So just to review again, here's the name of the bands that made my top 50 charts on all my individual charts during the year. I only did 7 individual charts, so I compiled the number of days that chart lasted, and then we do totals up. Then we combine high position rank during the year versus how many days they were on the year, and most acts spent all 365 days on the chart. And then we get this interesting combination of the two. So Expose ranking #1 of the year because they did spend 82 days at #1, which gave them ranking of 3rd for high position of the year, but they also stayed very high on the charts, ranking 4th of the year for highest position over the 365 days, giving them a total point score of 7, which is smaller than every other act, which gives them the #1 ranking of 2021. Okay, well, that's not all the fun, because now we have the next step. We're going to rank my favorite songs of the year. Now, this won't be too bad because, again, keep in mind, I only did 7 charts the entire year. So what we're going to do is find there's a huge variety in what songs are on those 7 charts. So even with only 7 charts of 20 songs each, we still could potentially have 100 different songs. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to go over back to my regular individual charts. We're going to look for the January 1st, 2021 chart. On the very first chart of the year, Expose had my #1 song, Now That I Found You, and it was #1 for 82 days before I did a new chart. So what we're going to do right now is take the top 20, and we're just going to paste it over into this spreadsheet. And because of that, we'll take the top 20 positions. We're going to stick them into these dates that we have. And you'll see it's the same data. When I highlight an artist's name, that means the song just debuted on this very chart, which means that all the ones here not highlighted were on the previous chart at the end of 2020. So they're carrying over. Okay, so my next chart was on March 24th. So we're going to take those 20 songs and bring them over as well. And notice we have some new entries. The top 4, in fact. We've got the Supertramp song starting to debut. And we've also got the song Take It While It's Hot by Sweet Sensation debuting at 20. But everything else here in the middle, you'll see, is a repeat. So Now That I Found You is #5 on this chart. But we're not going to keep these numbers here because we're going to compile them with their original listings. So Victim of Love fell to 6, Sliding fell to 7, Deep Deep Feeling fell to 8, Point of No Return fell, Deep Down fell to 10, Come Go With Me fell to 11. So we're seeing sort of a consistent fall on all of these songs. And my song completely fell off the chart this time. Heartbreak fell to 15. That Kind of Woman fell to 16. Bring Back the Bacon featuring Doug Kurgot and Legend from Saskatoon fell to 17. Hooked on You 18. Never Let You Go fell to 19. Come Back to Me, Janet Jackson. Blind. See it on the last chart. Oh, because it fell off. That's why. Okay, so we have the 4 songs that fell off, 5 songs that fell off because we have 5 new entries. So now that I've translated this data over, I don't need those double listings, so I got rid of those. Okay, so it's kind of fun to compile this just to kind of put it all together. Our next chart, May 16th, lasted for 32 days. And typical, we have #1. So let's move these numbers over here to their new chart. The highlighted ones are going to get their new columns, but the rest have to be knocked down. So Hide in Your Shell is going to fall to 4. Fool's Overture falls to 5. From Now On falls to 6. Billy Joel fell completely beyond. It's going to drop. #7 was December from Expose. It would actually move back up. Ooh, #7. Then we have some new Supertramp. Now That I Found You fell to 10. And then Victim of Love fell to 11. Point of No Return fell to 12. Go With Me fell to 13. Then a bunch of new Supertramp songs. And then we have Hooked on You, holding at 18. Take It While It's Hot, moving up to 19. Oh, nope, Never Let You Go is 19. It's right there. And Take It While It's Hot, holding at 20. Okay. So now that I've transferred the data, the old songs over, again, I can delete their listings. And now we have the first 3 charts of the year. Remember, there's only 7, so we're getting there quickly. I'm going to insert some new rows. All right, so our next chart we're going to include now is June 17th, Monster Magnet debut at #1 with a new song. these dates over to their new column. Here, Breakfast in America jumps way up to number 2. Roger Hodgson jumps to 3. Lady Godiva falls to 4. I Know You Know falls to 5. Exposed to Love falls to 6. Hide Your Shell 7. Fool's Overture 8. From now on, 9. December by Expose, hanging on the whole year so far at number 10. Then we've also got Come Go With Me is somewhere right there, 11. Okay, Come Go With Me is at 11. Rudy falls to 14. Soapbox Opera falls to 15. School falls to 17. Hooked on You holding at 18. Victim of Love falls to 19. And Take It While It's Hot holds at 20. So interestingly, our first number 1 song of the year has now officially fallen out of the top 20. It is gone. All right, let's subtract these old entries that we just inputted. 4 of the 7 charts done. See, it's interesting. These are my favorite songs that I'm listening to. They might be brand new songs or they might be really old. It's just whatever I'm listening to. July 26th chart lasted for 53 days. Again, we have another new number 1. In fact, this is the first charted song for this group ever on my charts. Never listened to Blackpink really before, but I really like this song, obviously. It was my number 1 song. Okay, and then Funk About You is number 2. So Silver Future from Monster Magnet fell to 3. Lots of new ones. So Space Lord falls to 14. Tractor falls to 15. Breakfast in America falls to 16. Had a Dream 17. Hide in Your Shell 18. Fool's Overture 19. Okay, so there you go. Mostly new songs. So that was an easy one to take over. Some interesting new debuts, including a bunch of brand new songs. Next, we have September 17th. I got into an ABBA mood when they announced that they were releasing a new album. So I started listening to The Visitor, which was an album I'd never really listened to much, so I didn't really like it that much. I finally gave it a good chance and found some really good ABBA songs that I had sort of ignored in the past. Head Over Heels was my new number 1 song from ABBA, and ABBA had the entire top 5. Blackpink, Lovesick Girls fell down to 10 on this chart. And then Monster Magnet's Silver Future fell to 13. After that, Love Lives Here fell to 14, Grass to 15, Bummer fell to 16, Telepatia fell to 17, and Levitating fell to 20. Okay, so now we've included those ones. So we're almost done, and then I'm going to show you how I tabulate this chart. This chart's a lot easier. Because these chart lengths are so sporadic, I don't feel it's fair to combine and compare lengths of charts because it's so random. It's just whenever I do them. So we're going to focus on high position only, which will make this much easier. And look at that, we're almost done. My last chart of 20 favorite songs was done on November 4th. And a new number 1 song, Babushka by Kate Bush, a song I'd actually never heard before. And then I heard it and I was so hooked. I've now played it hundreds of times. Okay, so ABBA Head Over Heels from the last chart fell from number 1 to 3. Stay climbed up to 5. Don't Shut Me Down was that new ABBA song. And it actually moved up to 8. Slipping Through My Fingers fell to 9. Dream Within a Dream from Spirit fell that highlighted? Oh yeah, it is highlighted. Okay, ABBA, One of Us, that was 11. And then Two for the Price of One fell to 12. Love Lives Here fell to, oh, actually climbed back up to 13. Grass moved back up to 14. Ghost debuted. Under Attack from ABBA fell to 16. Levitating climbed back up a little bit to 17. And Bummer fell to 19. Everything else on the final chart of the year was new. So again, let's debut the ones that we already have entries for. And now the fun part comes. Now we get to tabulate these and just see what the results are. Okay. Just going to save this quickly. Okay, so now we're going to start filling out the high position, the highest ranking that the song ever hit. So you can see most of these started at their highest peak, except for this one from Expose, actually peaked at number 7. The song is actually called December. My computer doesn't like that, being a month title. 7. Everything else peaked in their first month. This peaked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 2, 3, 16, 17, 1, 12, 13, 16, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20. And we have high positions of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 5 and 8. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, 15, 18, and 20. Okay, there's our high positions. Now the only last tedious thing to do is how many days were they at their high positions? We can rank them perfectly. Okay, so let's find out. These were all the first 82 days chart, except for this one was 32 days. It was later. Okay, this was a 53 days chart. This was 3 charts in a row at number 20. So that's a total of 124. And then Lady Godiva was number 1 for 32, 32, 32, 32. This was number 1 for 39, 39, 32, 39. This was number 1 for 39, 39, 39, 39. This is number 1 for 53. Okay, we're getting a little bit lower now. Let's see, it's 48 days for this chart. So these should be all 48s. Except these ones here at the end are 58s on the final chart of the year, 58. And just to keep it compiled, even though we're not going to rank it by this, we will at least, I think, total it up. Let me just compare to last year and make sure I did that. Yes, I did. Just so we have the data. So this song stayed in the top 20 for the first 167 days, as did this one, as did this one. These only spent the 82 days on the first chart and then fell off. And all these ones that run 2 charts, that's 135 days. And then these ones that lasted 4 charts, that's an impressive 206 days. We stayed in the top 20. All right, these songs debuted on the next chart on March 24th, so we can't include the first 82 days. So let's start with this one, which is easy. That's just a 53-day one. And we have a couple that lasted for the, check my math here again, 124 days. And these ones are 175. I'm just doing the math quickly by adding up the dates at the top of the screen there. These are the dates right here. or how many days each chart is counting for. So this one, 32 days was this chart. So this one will be 32 days because it was only on one chart. Combining that with the next chart, 39. So that's a total of 71 days for all of these songs. This one has another chart. So that's 104. This is a 39-day chart. So that gets 39. These ones get 2. This one gets 140. This chart is 53. So all the single chart ones get 53. After that, the next one is 48. So combining those, that's 101 days for that one. 101 for that one. These get the extra 58 days at the end. That's 159. And then these are 48 if they're by themselves, one single chart. And then the rest combine the 48-day chart with the last 58-day chart for a total of 106. 106. That, so type it over and over and over again. And of course, the last chart can only be the 58 days. So that's your 58. And there we have it. Now we have a ranking overall. So last year quickly. Make high days. That's all I needed. These columns aren't needed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sort the chart by this data here. And we're going to come up with our official answers. Bold and highlight that much. We're going to sort by column H, which is how high they ranked, and column I, which is how many days they spent there. So that's going to be descending. And then J is the amount of days they're on the chart. So that will also be descending, which quickly gives us our rank of the #1 song of the year plus all of them. So how many songs were there on the chart in total, making my individual chart? 73 songs. There you go. Done much quicker. So Terry's favorite songs of 2021. The #1 song of the year was Now That I Found You by Expose. It started the year January 1st at #1 for 82 days, but that was the longest run any song had #1. I had 7 different #1 songs, favorites of the year. Babushka came in strong at #2. It ended the year with the last 58 days. So it's got 58 days at #1 and 58 days total in the top 20. We've got Hide in Your Shell, Supertramp, Love Sick Girls, Blackpink, Head Over Heels, ABBA, Silver Feature, Monster Magnet, and Lady Godiva by Grapefruit. Those were my 7 #1 songs. Let's just unbold all these highlighted data here, make it easier to read. If you look at what song actually spent the longest on the chart, it would appear to be those few songs that spent 206 days. That was the longest run, including Victim of Love by Sweet Sensation. It ranks 8th of the year, but it never hit #1. It did spend 82 days at #2. How many of these songs are new? Lovesick Girls is a new release. And Tipping Point is a brand new release from Tears for Fears. That is it. Every other song on this list in the top 10 is an older song. Funk About You by Middle Child is a brand new song. Slide by Paul McCartney was a new song. And that's it for the top 20. Oh, Deep Deep Feelings also new from Paul McCartney. It's new album. Okay, there you go. So now we've ranked my favorite 73 songs of 2021. And that's all 73 that charted within one of my top 20 charts. And I did 7 of them. Well, believe it or not, we're still not done because now we've got to rank my favorite albums of 2021. Yes, there's even more to do, but this is going to go the fastest for sure. This will be the smallest list and the easiest to calculate. Just change this right now. Favorite albums of the year. All this information over here stays exactly the same. So 2021. Let's fix that quickly. Okay, so same thing. We're going to go over to my individual top albums charts. But for albums these days, I only do my top 10, and there's not a lot of changes. So this should go really quick. Okay, so the year started off with Mccartney 3 was my #1 album. Top 10 in their placements there. The next chart, March 24th, is when I started the Supertramp kick. Why? Because I started a Supertramp tribute band, and so I was listening to Supertramp a lot during the year. So, taking their positions, we'll move the top 10 numbers over to their individual chart for March 24th. Take It While It's Hot climbed to #3. McCartney fell to 4. What You Don't Know fell to 5. Exposure fell to 6. Walls and Bridges fell to 7. I, Robot fell to 8. Every Good 9. And Lipa fell to 10. Okay. So now we're on to the next top 10 chart already. May 16th, Grapefruit came in. It's interesting. I bought this album over 30 years ago. This is finally the first time I gave it serious plays, and became Grapefruit's second #1 album. They only have 2 albums. They are one of my favorite 60s bands. Okay, so the Best of Supertramp fell to 3. Crisis fell to 4. Take It While It's Hot fell to 5. What You Don't Know fell to 7. Exposure 8. I, Robot 9. And Dua Lipa holding at 10. Now we've got a huge onslaught of Supertramp albums. We've got 4 of them here. And now we're on to the next chart. This is the June 17th chart. This is when Monster Magnet shows up, the greatest hits album. And that becomes my new favorite album that I was playing and listening to over and over again at this time. And so almost all of these are repeats from the last chart. So we're just going to move them all over. Deep Water 2, Even is 3, Sweet Sensation is back up to 4, Breakfast up to 5, Crisis falls to 6, Best of 7, Exposure 8, I, Robot 9, and Ghost came in with a re-entry of Investissuma. Okay. And then we keep going. And there's only one new entry on this chart, and it's another re-entry for Ghost. Moving these over again. So Monster Magnet holds at 1. Prequel comes in strong at 2. Ghost jumps to 3 with that album. Deep Water falls to 4. Even falls to 5. Take It While It's Hot falls to 6. Breakfast falls to 7. Crisis is 8. Best of is 9. Exposure is 10. People delete that entry. So we're almost done. Look, this is going to be a very short list. We listened to very many different albums during this year. September 17th chart, though, we come in strong with the news of the new ABBA record. So I started listening to their last record, The Visitor from 1981, on its 40th anniversary. I'm really liking it. Brenda Russell also comes in number 2 with her greatest hits. Monster Magnet finally falls to 3. Ghost falls to 4 and to 5. Sweet Sensation still holding on strong at 6. Even falls to 7. Breakfast is 8. Crisis is 9. Exposure is still hanging on at 10. So those were all the beats. And guess what? That brings us already up to the last chart of the year. You can see we have a couple re-entries. So almost no new albums played this year. This was a pretty, in a sense, dull year for me. I didn't expose myself to many new albums. So ABBA holds at number 1. Spirit re-enters with The Family Plays Together. Fanny re-enters at 3. Ghost climbs up to 4. Exposure climbs back up to 5. Charity Ball enters at 6. Brenda Russell falls to 7. Monster Magnet falls to 8. Prequel falls to 9. Ghost re-enters with Meloria. Okay, that is all the albums that made my top 10 charts during the 7 charts during 2021. Now what we're going to do is, again, fill in the data. High position days, or just highest position period. 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 6, 10. And now, who spent the most days at the top of the rankings? 82 days at number 1, 82 days at number 2, 82. This was at 53, 82, 82, 82, 82, 82, 53, 53, 32, 32, 39. Greatest hits stayed at number 1 on 2 different charts for a total of 92 days. That's 53 days, 53. Oh, The Visitor by ABBA, number 1 on 2 different charts for a total of 106. 48, 58, 58, 58. Days on the charts, okay? Let's do this really quickly. 82. 135, 135, 135, 167, 167, 206, 307. Look at this, super impressive. Exposure by Expose stayed in my top 10 albums chart all 365 days of the year, but never was number 1. Then we get up to the Best of Supertramp. It stayed in the top 10 for, let's figure this out quickly, 259 minus 82. God, quick math in my head here. 85, 4, 177. Next one was in my top 10 for 225 days. This album was in the top 10 for 124. This was in for 172, 172. This was in for 198, 198, 159, 106. 106 and 58, 58, 58. Okay. We've got all the data we need to now combine the information and get the official number 1 favorite album of 2021. And all we're going to do is rank by H, the highest position reached, number 1, of course. then most amount of days at that peak, which is column I, but we're going to do it descending. And then number of days, column J, will also be descending. And there you go. My number one album of 2021 was The Visitor by ABBA, because we're ranking only by highest position, and it spent the most amount of days at number one, 106 days of the year. Greatest Hits by Monster Magnet, second place with 92 days. I had 5 different number one albums. The album that spent the longest run of the year was Exposure, but it only ranked 12th based on high position because number 3 was the highest it got. How many new albums in my top 10? McCartney 3 is new. And after that, guess what? Club Future Nostalgia was a hangover from last year. That is it. Everything else on my chart was an older album. Many of these albums have been on my charts before. Okay, I'm saving this. So to review all this, based on my 7 charts I did over the year of top 10 albums, we got 24 different albums to pick from. The Visitor's number 1. We had 73 different songs make my top 20 charts set on 7 separate charts. And on the 7 separate charts, I do a top 50 favorite music groups, and I had 56 acts in total. And Expose landed up being number 1 and also number 1 song. And their album, as I just said, ranked number 12. Well, there's how I do it. Tabulating my favorite bands, songs, and albums of the year based on whatever I'm listening to and however charts I do frequently. I try to do them on average once a month, but of course it just varies. So there you go. I'm 50 years old, and this is how I've been doing it since the age of 13. Thanks for watching.